Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Whole Division podcast. We are back again, doing it live as we do. All the things going wrong as it happens with live technology. We love it. It's all part of the game. You know, it's all good. First of all, we'll introduce the First Lady, the Whole Division podcast First Lady, Miss Chitty, bang, bang.
Hey guys, peace, love, namaste, and all the good stuff.
Yeah, there we go. A very special guest, Mr. NGBantz.
What's going on? Good evening, all. If you're good.
He's not really that chill. He's trying to play it down. He said, you know what the man are trying to play it cool? Like,
Yeah, what's good? What's good, guy?
I'm a chill guy, you know. I am a chill guy.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. 100%. Unlike you, Sticky.
Yeah. And myself, DJ Sticky Fingerz, using a different account this week because the IG didn't want to work up everything, you know what I mean? Everything mash up, you know what I mean? So anyway, it is what it is. We are what we are, and we're going to keep rolling because it's all good fun, right?
It is.
Yeah, topics. And again, NGBantz coming to you first on the first one. So it says the significant difference between now and way back when. And the question is, what was a house rule you had as a kid that you thought was completely normal until you grew up and realized not all households followed?
Oh.
So for me, I think getting up in the morning, you're saying a prayer. Before you go to bed at night, saying a prayer. Before you eat your dinner, saying a prayer. Not eating in front of a TV. We would sit around the dinner table, bless the food, we'd have a family dinner when we come back in the evening. And I just thought that was standard. But then as you get a bit older, you realize not everybody does that. I also thought it was standard on a Sunday for everybody to have rice and chicken. I didn't know that English people have mashed potato and roast potato. I found that out late in life. But yeah, man, I grew up in a spiritual household, so we would say prayers, and I'll be honest, as a kid, I didn't even necessarily understand what praying was, but it's something that we always did. It was a habit that was instilled that I've come to appreciate when I'm a bit older. But yeah, I'll go with that one.
Yeah.
Is that like a generational thing, do you reckon? Because I would assume, because I didn't really have that in my household, really, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I don't remember it, but I would assume that like our grandparents would probably be similar sort of age group, similar generation, right? So I would assume that generation especially would probably have implemented more of those sort of things. What do you reckon?
Possibly. I mean, as I said, with myself, I grew up, I said before, Jehovah's Witness. So my mum was a witness, and so we would definitely say our prayers. But even so, I'd go to my grandparents, and you know, like on a Sunday, the whole family's around there. We're having Sunday dinner. It's a big prayer. We always bless the food before we have anything. You're not sipping no drink, you're not nibbling nothing until that prayer's done. And when my granddad would get on one, that prayer could last a good 5-6 minutes. And you know you're hungry, and he's there. Yeah, you can't even open an eye because you know the one time you do open an eye, that's the time that he's looking at you to get a good clap. But anyway, yeah. Oh, actually, my granddad never clapped me. Let me just put out that disclaimer: we don't beat kids.
Disclaimer, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think for me, just because that was just usual for me, that was just normal, like just saying your prayers, and definitely blessing your food, being grateful for the food that you're about to put in your body, and how it's going to, and understanding that not everybody's got a meal as well. That was something that was really drilled in from early but yeah, but not everyone. That's like you just said, not everybody did that. So I don't know. It might have just been normal to me, and I don't know.
So definitely appreciation, Chidzz. When I come to you in a second, read some messages quickly. Lustrous UG says taking out outside clothes when in the bedroom. Okay, taking off outside clothes when coming to the bedroom. Melt Meetings said they had about 6 socks on the door. Dinner table is the hub. Excellent. Melt Me says not mash as well. When NGBantz spoke about having rice and chicken on a Sunday, not mash. Nad says yes, rice and chicken wasn't regular for other homes on a Sunday. Lustrous UG says parents cussing when asking for McDonald's. Oh my goodness. Melt Me Insta says Sunday was the one day of the week everyone came around and discussed any issue we may all have with each other. Okay, excellent. Chidzz, Coming to you on that one. What was a household you had as a kid?
I'm trying to think,
completely
like,
normal.
with my mum, my mum was cool, innit? She was, and but because we like sort of everyone was always at my grandmother's house. I understand why my mum was so cool and so laid back, because my nan was different, boy. Oh my god, she was so different. Like, we'd have to, you when you knock the door, you'd have to knock the door. It was almost like it was a special knock, so she would know who it is and she would know of your importance. So that was just a bit weird to me. And I found myself knocking people's doors in different ways. And I thought, yeah, that's not even a normal thing. Then it was which is something which I think, like, the taking the shoes off, yeah. Taking the shoes off, that's a thing for me. Like, if you're coming in my house, you're taking your shoes off, innit? A lot of people don't really, like, they just don't really, yeah, they don't do that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, not allowed in the front room. We definitely were not allowed in that front room. You know, the typical Caribbean front room with the bar that was the front of the ship, and then you had the record player, and then you had your glass cabinets with the best glass
The
china that
best
never
China.
got used, and those little cups never got used though. Like, do you get me? They get dusted down and cleaned up and everything, but you never see anyone sip from them. And yeah, it's just like just little weird things. And if my grandmother said to me, she would always send me to go and look for stuff in it, because I was more guaranteed to come back with it. But she used to say, Chiddy, go upstairs, buy the ting, and get the ting out of the ting.
you
Knew
know.
exactly what she was on about every single time. Every single time I knew. And yeah, if my granddad was watching the TV, you couldn't even breathe too loud. If you're too loud, you're getting licks just for breathing too loud. And I remember being over my friend Holly's house, my little friend who's one of my little best friends in school. I went over her house and we were watching something, and I never spoke all the way through. And the when her mum dropped me home, her mum said, "Oh, like, they had a lovely time, but a little bit weird. The Chitty didn't speak at all when they were watching something." And she was like, "Oh yeah, because that's her granddad. It's just instilled in it." But no, yeah, I think I have PTSD from that. Definitely. Yeah. No, because you know, if you even moved, he'd look at you. And you know, if he had to look at you twice, it was long. Or he'd tell you to go find work to do. Like, pure foolishness. That's the one thing I realized about Caribbean families. They're extra, and it's low key abuse, really. If you cannot, you could never be brought up in this day and age the way that there's no way you could parent the way they did. Not so much my mum, but my grandparents. Yeah, it's just low key weird, really.
Yeah, do you know what? You make some couple of gems in there, right? Also, Mr. True Talk to the chat says, add me, guys.
He
Mr. True
needs to
Talk,
come out and come back in.
we've
You
been
just
having
need to
lots of like problems trying to get logged in and stuff. I
tell him
can't
to
forget to tell
come
you.
back. You need to come out, Mr. True Talking. You need to come back in. It's the only way it's going to work.
Melt Meetings says, "Oh, the cabinet's full up." Now, Chidi, you mentioned the cabinets. You not forgot about the cabinet. I've completely forgot about the cabinets, right? There's all the good stuff in it that's never used. My grandparents had this cabinet. I don't know how it never used. Nothing was ever used in there. Another one, yeah, another one.
That's China.
NGBantz said he didn't get beats, but you know what? That's one thing I got, and I thought that was normal in every household, getting beats, because the way that I would get beats, and it wasn't even like I was that bad as a kid. The way I'd get beats, yeah, the way they'd get beats.
Nothing.
Yeah. Lady says the special room only open for special occasions. That's the front room right there.
That's the front.
That's what UG says. Having a separate washcloth for your face and for your body. I was shocked when I went to my friend's home as a teenager and they didn't.
Oh yeah, do you know what? Leslie's UG says best cakes and biscuits for guests only. What was that? What was?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Do you know one thing that used to get me? Yeah, is when you find a biscuit tin and you think, yeah, you got the shortcake, the special one, and you open the tin and you only put cotton reels up in there. Only put cotton
Yeah.
reels. What
Needing
was that?
Fred, yeah. Needing Fred up in there. I'm trying to think of another one. You know, someone mentioned about taking the shoes off. You mentioned it, Chidzz, about taking the shoes off. I went to a party, right? Went to a party, and there was saying that it was a house party. Saying it might have been like 15 people in the house, yeah. Now, I looked at, you know, you just chilling, you know, you're just chilling. Oh my God, this message, hold on. The cleaning up skirtings and doors, skirting boards and the doors and
Yeah,
the
we
net
had to.
and the net curtain. He's undo the
Net
net thread
curtains.
of the net curtain. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
you had to. It's like my mum has a special mop to do this, like the skirting board. She said, she goes, work smarter, not harder. This is the mop that you use for the skirting boards only. And then you had another mop to do the kitchen floor. Then you had a next mop to do by the door.
Oh my goodness. Carmen London DJ says, my mum had plastic on the remote controls.
Oh,
Do you
that's
know what? Do you
different.
remember? Do you guys remember having plastic in the hallway?
Yeah.
Plastic sheets
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
hallway,
Oh,
My
plastic on
God.
the
yeah.
sofa.
Way, and you
Did you
turn that
used to
shit
have the
over,
little?
your foot is getting cut up. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. I'm
Did
telling
you used
you.
to have the things on the door thing? There's little like
Yeah.
bead sort of things. You just have to
Yeah.
walk.
The bead curtain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put me in my eye enough times, boy.
Nobody
Oh
says I still
boy.
do it now. Is it San or Cyan? San, I'm assuming.
Oh,
Forgive me if I say
Sean.
it. Sean, apologies if I mispronounced your name. Says, what's wrong with the plastic and remotes? I feel attacked. Not me. Says yes, and the beads at the door. Yeah, I forgot about that as well. But yeah, live in the hallway. That piece of mat thing, that sheet thing. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, I said I went to a party. There must have been about 15 people there. And you talking about taking the shoes off. I noticed there was a clear distinction of those who took their shoes off and those who didn't. Because house party, you know, house party. I looked on the floor. I was like, oh, you know what? I've noticed these people over here all got their shoes off, and these people over here all got their shoes on. I'm like, but wait, you know what I mean? You know, I could tell who was Caribbean, who wasn't. You know what I mean? Because the shoes were
Oh
off over
Lord.
there and over here. House party, you know. When I walk into someone's house, the first thing I'm doing, I'm taking my shoes off and
Yeah,
then
but a
I'm
lot of
going.
people don't, and it's just it just vexes me. Like it really gets me mad because I'm just like, for me, you're just bringing the outside in my yard. Like, why are you
Yeah,
doing that?
but I just don't understand why people just don't do it at the front door. I don't care if I got holes in my socks, doesn't even matter. Because I'm walking into the
Yeah.
house, my shoes come up at the front. And you know, some people say, "Oh, don't worry, don't worry." No, I'm taking it off right here. Yeah, I'm taking it off right here, right by the front door. It's all good. You know what I mean?
Before, when you lot were younger, right? When you was going out, did you used to get the talk from your mum? Like, say if you was going around to like one of her friends' house or something, and it's like you don't ask for nothing, you don't take nothing, you don't eat nothing, you just sit down. And you used to get that talk. You used to get that. Like, we're not going people's yard to get eat. I'm like, what?
The people will ask you, "Are you like a drink or anything? Are you hungry?" And the one's answering for you, "No, he's already ate."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
They
look.
look at
It's the
you.
look that they give you.
They look
You
at you
just
like,
know.
and if you say yeah, oh my God, as soon as you leave them, they say, yeah, embarrass me.
Do you know what? I ain't gonna lie, right? I actually do miss that. You know, I miss that level of respect and almost embarrassment and shame because back in them days, my parents didn't like to be shamed, embarrassed. They didn't like shame. And now our generation and the next generation, they're happy with shame.
Yeah, it's
Every
weird. Like, it's weird. You know, for me, like, I just couldn't see me. I could have, and this is just how I've been brought up. I could have 5 pence in my purse and the world would not know. I would go on like I am flossing, like I got bare money, because it's just, for me, it was just a thing in my family. It was just like never reveal to people, like, if you're broke or if you never act desperate, never beg, never do any of that. Do you get me? It will piss off the ancestors if you beg. Honestly, that's literally how I was brought up, and it's good. I think it's good in a way because as an adult, I never borrow off people. I never ask anyone for anything. But then at the same time, it kind of stops you from asking for help. So it's a kind of being brought up with that pride, isn't it? Even my friend said to me earlier on, she was like, you know, you can just come over my house to knock my door, and I was like, why would I do that? Like, why would I come and knock your door? And she said, because you can just call in. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. And if people knock my door and then I don't know they're coming, you're not coming in. I'll look at you straight on the ring doorbell. I'll have eye contact with you through the window. You're not coming in. Because why have you fast up yourself to come and knock my door? You haven't told me you're coming. You all right? Don't do that to me.
Melt Me Insta says, I absolutely miss my grandparents. You know, before I go to the next comment, that reminds me of like what you said just then. Because you know, it's about making effort and stuff, right? You think about our grandparents' generation, they would always dress up, always dress up. when they were going somewhere. They would have the man that would have the shoes, shiny shoes, the hat with the feather in it. You know what I mean? They would always be dressed up. Lady J7 says, my 70-year-old daughter is next to me and laughing because some of the things we're talking about, I did do or do with my children. So I did or do with my children. There we go. Yeah, man, there's certain foundations you got to have. Lustrous UG says, the one thing I didn't listen and ate at one of my non-melanated friends' home and got food poisoning when I was 12. Let me read that again. Read it again. The one time I didn't listen and ate at one of my non-melanated friends' home and got food poisoning when I was 12. Lord have mercy.
It's crazy. Do you know her saying that? It kind of reminds me of something. My granddad, again, I never forget, my mum, she went out with her friends, raving, innit? And you know, the end of the night, you buy food sometimes. She said he must have been out. He walked straight up to her and she said, where she was younger, she said it was either get food and walk home or get a cab. So they said, let's get food and just walk home happy, innit? So she took her last piece of money, went and got food. My granddad walked straight up to her, took the food, put it in the bin and said, what have I told you about eating it on the street? Mad thing.
Yeah.
And
You can't eat on the street.
Yeah, he said to her, why are you eating? Don't eat food out on the street. And I never forget, he always used to sit down and have his little talks with us. And he said, never eat from white people's houses, you know. He used to be like, but why? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, why? And I remember having a conversation when I worked in the nursery and having a conversation with one of my colleagues. And they were talking about racism and stuff. And I was like, do you know what? You're saying all this, that, and the other, but the shit my grandfather used to say to me, like, it was mad. Because white people will say, oh, you know what they say. And I'm like, you want to hear what they say about you? Look, you know what I mean? Like, we used to say they smell like wet dog and like crazy stuff. And I actually grew up, it wasn't until, obviously, you go out in the world and you're like, yeah, not all of them do. Some of them, but not all of them do. And there are some black people who smell like wet dog too. Not even gonna lie. But yeah, he was mad. Yeah, he was a little piece racist, but he left a little white woman on the side though.
This is to get worse.
Oh my Lord.
Lustrous UG says going out the house with shiny faces. So that's a lot of Johnson's baby oil on your face as a kid. Oh man.
You know something? I don't even think it was just black people. I actually think it was a generational thing that I don't think happens now. But you know, like having older people, so you got elders. Like I automatically would say Mr. or Mrs. whatever the surname is, or it's auntie, uncle, something like that. It's always a respect. I've never ever, even now, when I meet someone a bit older, I still don't feel comfortable just calling them by their first name and just being like, just normal. Like it was just like you had a level of respect for your elders and everyone, and that's some reason why I don't even know who is and who isn't family, because everyone is just uncle and auntie to me. You know what I mean? Like how many people you would say this is my cousin, but there's no blood relation whatsoever. It's just you know what I mean? But yeah, it's really, I don't know when that stopped, why people stopped doing that.
Yeah, and it's like if you questioned them, like if I questioned my granddad and said, oh, well, what about like Auntie Carol or these white people? And he'd say, yeah, no, they're different because they're with us, you know what I mean? They're seasoned and they're all right. You're okay with them. But remember not all, like it was pure ignorance. It was pure ignorance. And it do make you kind of think, obviously in this day and age, there's no way you can get away with it. Either way.
Glamner says wet dog is diabolical. Lustrous UG says the youngest call me auntie. Melt Me Insta says the ice cream tub uses an ice tray and chest full up with pure blankets. They never ever use. Yeah, I forgot about that. The ice cream tub was ice tray. Yeah, it was used for ice, and you get a big knife and start chopping it up. Yeah.
And do you know when like your grandmother would say to you, "Oh, you can get an ice lolly out of the freezer," and me and my cousins always used to be like, "Why does the ice lolly smell like freezer?" And when I say smell like freezer, it just smelled of bare vegetables and fish and food. You couldn't eat it because you're tasting that, and that stuck with me. I literally had PTSD. Is a real thing, boy.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I think we do. I think we have lost a little bit. We gained some stuff as well, but I think we have lost a few things from our grandparents' generation, especially. Because again,
Yeah,
some of the standards they said, I think when NGBantz said it, like in terms of even like the prayer before eating, right? So I'm not religious. I'm not overly religious, but I think, as you said, in terms of like having a certain level of appreciation, others don't have it. So
yeah,
you don't have to be religious to appreciate something, right? To
yeah.
appreciate that. And again, even like as I said, the way they dress when they went out, the man then would shoes, everything, shirt, press. As I said,
Mm.
the hat with the feather in it. Do you know what I mean? And that would be, and that's not just going to church or anything. That's just going out. Anywhere they're going, they're always dressing up proper. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and now we go out and we're wearing tracksuits.
No one
Yeah,
gives
it's
a
true.
shit. For me, it's the pride thing. Like that one thing I am grateful for is the pride that was instilled in me. Some people will say, "Oh yeah, but it makes you hard headed or whatever." But it's just not like it's like no one can ever put their mouth on me. No one can ever say certain things about me because I carry myself in a certain way because it's what I was taught. Do you know what I mean? The women in my family taught me very well, and then the men in my family taught me very well in terms of manners, respect, and all those kind of things. I think now we've got a generation of people who've got no shame whatsoever. They just do
Mm.
business, each to their own. But it's just, yeah. And it just goes into the fact that I think, when we do touch on the topic of people becoming more isolated, I understand why. Because it's very low vibing these days. That's just my personal opinion anyway.
Well, you spoke about manners and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
Melt means his pride and being house proud. That's a good one, actually. But you talk
Yeah.
about manners. You talk about manners and respect and things like that. I think that's a good segue into the next topic about consent. And I can never say this word, discernment.
Discernment. Yeah. Well
Yeah,
done.
which is like judgment. I had to look. I had to go to the dictionary and look at
Did
the
you do?
thesaurus as well. Yeah, I was like, let me just make sure what this word means. I think that's a good segue into that. So, NGBantz, I know you posted something recently about the consent discernment. Um, and to be honest with you guys, I thought about this topic and I was like, I don't even know where to go with this topic because to me, it's a very simple thing, about consent personally, right? It's quite straightforward, as soon as someone says no or what have you, that's it, the consent's gone. You know what I mean? Like there's no two ways about it. But I'm sure not everyone thinks that or there's a wider conversation to be had. So, Chidzz, as the lady on this one, I'm going to come to you first, and then NGBantz going to come to you second.
Okay. So my thoughts on this, obviously the clip that NGBantz put up. What was the podcast called again?
Yeah, I was just going to say, shout out these guys. It's a mindful podcast, is what they've called. They've just started it. They're two very, very great guys. They've got a guy, Anthony, he's actually a licensed therapist now. He
Amazing.
talks about getting that. Yeah, he's a black male, so it's quite rare to find in that sort of being a therapist. So he's got that, and then Hez, who's just another really great guy. He's not a therapist or anything, but he's very intelligent. He's a great family guy, great dad, and yeah, they just decided to make a podcast. Like you're saying about a lot of low vibrational stuff, so they want to actually just have serious conversations. So
Yeah.
yeah, people do go check them out if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the clip. And it got me thinking. I remember having a conversation with a female friend of mine, and she'd been out on a couple of dates with this guy. And I think maybe say it was like the fourth or fifth date, they decided to kind of go, but she said, "Oh, I'll come back to mine, Jeremy will chill, whatever." He said, "Cool." She tried to initiate sex, and he said no. He was like, "No, I'm not, like, I'm actually not ready. I'm not in the mood for that. I just want to get to know you and just chill." And she got very offended and she kept trying to force herself and force herself and force herself. And in the end, I think because of the peer pressure and just everything that she was doing way too much. He did it, but then the next day, she didn't hear from him. Didn't hear from him for a few days, and then he messaged her and he said, "Look, like you forced me. You literally forced me, and you made me feel away, and I felt so. You made me feel so much away that I felt I had to do it." And he was like, if it was the shoe was on the other foot, it'd be a madness now. And that actual clip got me thinking about that scenario. And it's true. And like I've been in a situation where I've been with a man and whatever, you try what and they have said, you know what, I'm not really in the mood. And I think women, they say men don't like rejection, but women really don't like to feel rejected. Because remember, it takes a lot, a woman thinks it takes a lot for her to, throw herself at a man. And a lot of women don't want to, shoot their shot towards a man in fear of rejection. So I think when a woman actually does it, and a man rejects it, they're like, hold on a minute, what? He doesn't find me attractive? What? Now I'm just going to stick it on him anyway. And I know a lot of women think like that. They might they might shoot me down for saying that, but women do not like rejection. They don't, and that's a fact. So I don't think it's taken as seriously, because imagine how many men are out there who have said no, especially those older women who go for younger men and they take advantage and they groom them and they do all, because let's be real, women do that. So it's not just the other way around, because a lot of people do we like to go, even though, I think it's more highlighted when it's a man who's done it. I don't think it's highlighted enough when it's women.
I agree.
Bit deep one, wasn't it? Sorry about
that. No, it's funny because I've actually got a clip which I've been waiting for the right time to post. And it's going to go up this week. But it's this woman who's on a podcast, and she's speaking about a similar situation. Basically, her friend had gone round to some guys, and she was all up for it. He wasn't really stuck it on him. Ended up doing it, and then he ghosted her. So then she turned around and did claim that he had ordered her, yeah. And she was saying the only reason why she said that was because now she felt shame because the guy didn't want her. But she was forcing herself upon a guy that didn't actually want that. And it's like, there is a bit of a double standard in society. But that's not to blame women, though. Like, because when I was actually having to think about it, I think, once again, us guys have to sort of take a bit of accountability here. And not so much, I'm not on about young lads, I'm on about older guys, because like you say, it seemed, this, to be a real man, to be macho, you're supposed to go and get lots of women. You're supposed to, you're meant to go out, breed them up, sow your seed, and you know what I mean? You're meant to do all of that. But that's not actually true. So when young boys, the teenagers, obviously, like any young person, the hormones are raging anyway. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to have that intimacy. But you will get women that will pull it on them, and then the friends and the older guys that they're looking up to are saying, yeah, of course, you're meant to go and do that. That's what you're meant to do. And yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all. It's when we see the comments, say like, I'll post things about school teachers when they're having affairs with school kids. And you'll always see, if it's like an older woman with a boy, you'll always see the guys commenting, oh man, I wish a teacher had done that when I was younger. And like that. And it's that sort of mentality. We're not recognizing, actually, no, it's completely wrong. What's happening? These kids are actually being abused. When being real about it, it's abuse. If it was being done to a woman, then we recognize it, but we don't recognize it so much the other way. But as I say, I'm not blaming women for that. I do think, once again, it's a guy thing. We've got to get rid of that culture, and I do think that some of us now are starting to recognize it, and we're not trying to go down that same cycle that we've had previously. But obviously, there's a long way to go. But yeah, I do think that we need to stop putting pressure on young boys and making out like it's so good to be a gallus, to just have women here, to be having sex here and there. It's really not.
Yeah.
I can't really disagree with anything both of you have said. I think the only thing I would add to it, and it's not even a part, the only thing I'd add to it is going left slightly, is when I see things online, and it's just jokes, and it's like memes and they're joking, but there's a serious element to it when you see guys who post like like the short clips and stuff, and they'll say, oh look, in a viral clip or a little clip that's a stage clip, and they say, or you can sign your consent form before we get started, right? And people are laughing because it's a joke, but the seriousness behind it, I suppose, is some people actually believe that you need to, if you sign to get written consent, you're okay. No, actually, consent can be withdrawn at any given time, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sign that form at 7:01, at 7:02, you say no, thank you.
you can change your mind. Exactly, you can change your
So
mind. And
what
I
good is
think
that?
and that goes for both sexes. It goes for both. I think it's just it's quite it's just alarming. I know, like in Wales, there was a case of a female teacher, and she interfered with a 13-year-old boy, and he ended up she ended up giving him an STD. So he had to go to the clinic, and she said to him to not say anything when he goes there. So obviously they said to him, well, you need to give us a list of the people that you've had sexual contact with in order for us to, we can send an anonymous message, so they can get treated or whatever. And he just said, oh, I've only been with one person, and he exposed her, and then it opened up a big case. Big case, and she went to jail for it. She did go to jail, but now she's a PT in the gym. I just think like people like that.
How do we know how long she went to jail for?
I think she only did about 6 months.
6 months. Now I'm gonna ask a question. No one didn't answer the question. So don't need to answer it. Let's just have a think about it. If that was a man and a 13-year-old girl in the same scenario, what do you reckon the prison sentence would have been?
Way longer. Way longer. I think if it was a man, it would have been way longer.
That's not me saying it's any better or any worse, man. I'm not trying
It's
to say,
not.
oh, one's better, one's worse than the other. No, I'm not saying that at all. Both
And I know
deserved.
in that case, I know they took into account the 13-year-old boy. Well, it was like I think it all fully came out. He must have been. She started a relationship with him when he was 13, and I think he was 15 when it all came out. And because they said that he was saying that he had feelings for her, and she didn't force him. He consented to it and stuff. They said he was of sound of mind enough to not, there was truth in what he was saying.
So I'll ask the question again.
Yeah.
So if you hear a story that DJ, you wouldn't hear the story, mate. If you heard a story saying that DJ Fingerz had a relationship with a 15-year-old girl, and he started seeing her from when he was 13. Sounds a bit like R. Kelly, right? So I was dating her when she was 13, and she was of sound mind, and she consented, and she had feelings for him. I mean,
it's going to be different.
I don't need to have that thought, mate. I just want to put that out there. Don't be having those sort of thoughts of me doing such things, okay?
Yeah.
If she don't know the limits of Soul Solid 21 seconds, then I mean, if I say to her 2 multiplied by 10, and she doesn't say +1 Romeo done,
yeah, then, it's over.
Yeah,
it's over. And you've got I'll say this more for men. You've got men out here who say, oh, she lied about her age. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. You can look in a child's face and know that that is a child. I had a big thing when the last time we went to Jamaica, and the men were looking at my child. They were looking at her. She was 13 at the time. And I was just like, I remember a woman saying she cussed these group of men because she said, when you look in her face, you can see she's a baby. Yeah, you're there looking. No, I thought she was a big grown woman. She got big woman. No, it doesn't matter because her face is still that of a child. And you can see that. And I just think it's pure ignorance when people say, oh, but she looked older. Nah. They just did.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to say, Little Woman Eats. I'm not sure if you lot follow her, but she's another one. I just thought, because she always comes on my post. I'm sure you'd have seen her comment. She always comes with a bit of substance. Yeah, she will debate people, but she'll come with substance as well. But yeah, so I just give her a little shout out.
Tell her to jump on. Tell her to jump on. Not on this topic, because this is a very serious topic. But tell her to jump on.
I've tried to get her on live before.
No, tell her, say to her, if she's ready for all that smoke, we can go, obviously, it's all friendly.
He loves the back and forth.
Yeah.
I have tried. If you can get her to come on, I reckon she'd be amazing on camera, but I've tried so much, she just won't do it. But
I'll tell her
maybe if you ask Sticky, maybe if you ask,
I don't know.
She might
but I'm
listen to
telling you, say to her, look, if you want all that smoke, if you're ready, if you're up for it, I mean, come prepared. And if she's from a small island, tell her to forget. Just tell her.
Oh no, she ain't Caribbean. Technically, is she from an island? It's Hong Kong. Hong Kong's an island, isn't it? Have I got that
That
wrong?
was a
Have I just embarrassed myself?
well, one of
Just
us
off
in Hong
mainland China? I could be completely
Wait,
wrong,
Hong
but
Kong.
yeah.
When they speak Hong Kong, is it Cantonese or Mandarin? Do we know?
Is it
I think
I
Cantonese?
don't know. Yeah, little
I
woman,
think I
you
think
need to put it in. You need to type in the comments because we don't actually know here.
Where are
I
you
think
We
I'm gonna
sort
from,
of
go
girl?
Cantonese. I'm gonna go
exposing our
Cantonese.
I'm
ignorance
gonna
here.
go with Cantonese as well.
Yeah, I
She
think
said I'm a
yeah.
teacher. She's a teacher, so she can't be on debating these controversial topics. Might get cancelled. I hear it. I hear it. It's
Do you know?
yeah.
I can't see the comments. You know, my comments are not showing up.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I haven't seen any comments. If people saying I read no comments, I can't see the comments. That's the reason why. Okay, then I have to refresh it. They're not loading. It's bloody Instagram. Hey ho, hey ho.
Insta, Insta.
Instagram. But yeah, I just think that, you know, when it comes to consent, no is no, regardless of the gender, the whatever. No is no. Somebody tells you no, don't try it. Take the L in it. If you want to see it as an L, take the L because there could be a bigger L if you go and take it yourself. You've got to be very, very careful and very, very, very vigilant about what you're doing and who you're doing it with. Because you will have people, you could be on a date with somebody and it could all be going well. The sexual chemistry could be high. It could be great. And then they say, no, I don't want to. I actually don't want to.
But on the Mindful podcast, I forgot who it was, but they did actually make a point, which I think is quite, which kind of stood out a little bit. Where you were saying like in those scenarios where you're with someone, it could all be going great, and then all of a sudden
Mm,
they just become off it. You can feel the energy, like you can tell that somebody is now not quite into it, and usually if they're not really into it, it's not really enjoyable. Not enjoyable for you as a person. It's definitely not enjoyable for them.
exactly.
So why would you consider? Why would you keep on trying to force it? Because it's not going to be. You're not going to have great sex now. It's
You
going to
know,
be no. And like you say, when it's just going to lead to problems after as well, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you can't feel, if a vibe is right and the energy is right, it's going to happen. If one of it's off, it's not an issue. Don't ever try and make someone feel bad about it. You just got to understand it's just not the right time. The moment will come. Uh,
and have conversations. We're adults. I think it's important to have these conversations. Like, people saying, oh, but I don't want to get rejected. I don't listen. It's better to have an outright conversation to know where you both are, what you're doing. Oh, are we doing this or not? What are we doing? Because you can't have, and I speak to a lot of men and I've had these conversations with them and they'll say, like, I don't even try and make a move on women anymore. She has to come to me. She has to let me know that she's into me, she's attracted to me, she wants to do those things with me. Because it's a dangerous world out there. Remember, we got people out here making false accusations also as well. So
But
we
Chiz, you
have
know
to
those
be
guys.
careful.
Those guys. If you told them when they find those specific women to let me know, okay? Yeah. Okay, listen, I'm gonna answer this topic. I'm gonna jump off and jump back on again because I can't see the updates and stuff. So I don't want
Okay.
to not read anyone's comments out. So apologies if I missed anyone's comments. It's not my fault, Insta. But next comment though, again, which kind of relates to what we've been talking about, is or comment or question rather, is are we as humans more connected or more isolated? Say it again. Are we as humans more connected or more isolated? NGBantz, I'm coming to you first. Well, he's thinking about it. He's like, oh, boy, bro, what you come to me for?
He's like, why me first? Because I went first last.
you know what? Like so. Oh, and he's jumped off. It'll come back in a sec. I'll wait for him to come back. I'll wait for him to come back.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going to say it's a funny one because obviously I post on here and I very much so try and get people to engage on this app and I run that. But I myself I've actually become quite disconnected with the online world. I'm not really on it myself as much, nowhere near as much as what I was previously,
Same.
and I don't really do it more. And it was because I became very much so a recluse, very, very
Okay.
reclusive. Like
Okay.
my social life, like from lockdown, like it just like there was just so much change in me as a person, and I didn't even really recognize it. I didn't see it. I thought at one point I thought I had social anxiety, which
Yeah.
I don't have social anxiety, but I think at that particular moment in time, it might have just been it was a little bit too much. But I don't at all. I can go out, I can do things. And I used to be a really outgoing person. I used to be like the life of the party. Like
Yeah.
literally, I would just get everybody hyped. And then now I got to a point where I was starting to get popular online, but my own life, I was becoming very isolated and withdrawn from people and not
Yes.
having the social interactions. So I've tried to sort of almost, I suppose, in a way, to using the term unplug from the matrix and try to come off online as much. And I'm now trying to spend as much time around like friends, around family, and just enjoying just being around people. Because I think you can, well, for me personally, I did very easily get caught up in the disassociating the real world and
Yeah.
being in an online world, which is quite a lonely place, I think.
I totally hear you. The empty podcast, before we go into what you just spoke about, the empty podcast said social media has made us less connected physically, but more connected online. And it's so true. It's like, and I think a lot of people are suffering with the social anxiety because it's so easy to communicate with people online. There's a whole screen between you, so you don't have to really actually have physical contact with them. You can talk to them. And I think a lot of people think they know you as well. It's like they feel like they know you just because of your online presence. Like I always tell people in real life when I see them, I'm like, please do not ever, don't ever get me twisted because please best believe you don't know me like that because who I am online, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I'm a fake person, but what I post online, I've mastered the art of letting people think that they know so much about me, but they really, really don't. I post quotes. I'm known for posting my quotes. And I'll post a picture or whatever in between quotes and stuff, but I rarely show my family. I rarely show who I'm with. If I've posted somewhere, best believe I have left that place a long time ago before I post it. Um, right, I am letting you back in, Sticky, but it's I have accepted you.
Just on that one as well, the empty podcast, that's another one, actually. I'll
Yeah,
give a shout
yeah,
out
the
to
empty podcast.
because
They're another one.
yeah,
Great podcast, guys. Those
great
guys are
podcast.
doing bits. Yeah,
Talking on topics which are fun, but once again, they've got substance behind it. Like people keep
yeah,
moaning about podcasts which don't have any substance, they're just talking foolishness. But yeah, you've got these guys here that go on, have great conversations, talk on proper topics, and have a laugh, have banter with it as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
Of
definitely
course.
ready to shout out.
Um, Nad says, yes, kids, they think they can touch me in public, but I don't. I don't like people who I don't know touching me. Yeah, it's that part as well. It's like when you see me. This is why I don't put myself up out there. Like for me, if one of my quotes touch somebody, yeah, and it helps someone through a day, or sometimes on a rare occasion, I'll do if I feel compelled enough, I will do a little video, some words of wisdom or whatever, or just my thoughts. But it's like I haven't got there's not a desire to be seen. I haven't got a desire to be seen. I don't want to be known. Do you know, if one person inboxes me and says, do you know what, that quote you posted was so lovely and it helped me, then that's great. But literally don't be or try and be all up in my business. Don't try and think that you know me because I will never show you have to protect yourself against the internet. I really believe that. You have to protect yourself against, you know, these people because there's some crazy ass people out there, They just because they're in your comments, yeah, and whatever. It doesn't mean that you know them. You haven't built a relationship with them. It's not that. And I don't know. And yeah, I think as I've become older, like I used to be a very social person. I was here, there, everywhere. I always needed people around me. I always had people in my house and all them toxic things. And then now to me, at this time of life, is toxic. I like peace. I just don't like people. I really don't. And that's terrible. But the way humanity has become for me, like I said earlier on, I spoke about the conversations. I can't do these low vibing conversations. When I talk to people, I disassociate. big time. I literally disassociate, and it's terrible. And I try and catch myself, but I can't because nothing that you're saying interests me, and it doesn't spark a conversation. It doesn't trigger me. It doesn't. So I'm very much, let me stick to what I know right now. I've tried the new thing. I tried to do the social thing. I tried to do all of that. Tried it for a little bit, a couple of months. It wasn't for me. Yeah, it wasn't for me. I'm back to being, just stick with my own, and it's all good for me. Well, Sticky turned off the whole instant. Yeah, Sticky, you need to just, I don't know.
Is he not able to join again?
It's not working out for him. I think he's trying to join from another account, but he just needs to close everything and come back in because Instagram is playing up. But yeah, man, I just think, like, for you, Katie, I know, because obviously you post a lot. It's like your page is brilliant. It's brilliant for news. It's brilliant for the latest trend topics, those kind of things. Do you get like a lot of messages?
Oh, what, DMs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but listen, as bad as it sounds, I'll have my main DM box. I think it's general.
Yeah.
There's another one, and then if you go into my request folder, I don't see your message.
You're not. Yeah, same. Same.
Yeah,
I don't look at it.
I don't open them, and I do try and respond back to people, but I used to really put pressure on myself to get back to people quickly. Now I just when I can get back to you, I will get back to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming, because of the nature of my page and just how I am anyway. People just send me content all the time. People send me content, and I know they don't mean anything bad by it, but a lot of the time, I'll be honest, 90% of the things that get sent to me, I don't even watch. I'll just like it. Yeah. And it's not because I'm being rude or anything. It's just that it's overconsumption. And a lot of the time, people, like you were saying, people think like they know you because of certain things that you post. And they don't. So a lot of the time, they're sending me things which I have literally no interest in whatsoever. And so, but at the same time, I'm not trying to like tell people not to message me or nothing like that. You do what you do. I know it's coming from a good place. It's just that I have to manage it how I manage it. If that
it is, and it does come with overwhelming. Like, I'll be honest, I don't answer any of. I don't even look at my DMs. Every now and again, I might go in there, and if I see a name and think, oh, let me. But it's very rare. That's why I say to people, just don't DM me. There's no point, because I got hundreds of messages I haven't read, and because nine times out of 10, it's just foolishness. People are missing the message. They miss the message totally. I'm at a point in my life, I'm very connected with myself as in my feminine, and if I want to post a certain thing, I will post a certain thing. That is for me. Best believe I'm posting for me. I ain't posting for you lot. When I post myself, that is for me. And it's like, it's nice for the love and the support to the ones that actually get where I'm going with it. But then those ones who disrespect it, or they abuse it, or they just make me think, do you know what, I got to remove you now. I have to remove you. At one point, I had like 7,000 followers, and I deleted. It took me a good few months, and I removed about, I want to say it was just like a good 4,000 and something. It took me a long, long time, but I had to remove them because I thought, this is not what my page is about. And you're just here, and you're just, do you know what I'm saying? So I want to put. I'm a lot for substance. I'm a lot for things that actually mean something. I'm a lot for change. I'm a lot for peace. And people don't respect peace. I think a lot of people don't want peace. They want chaos. They want all of that. And that's good for you if that's what you want, but that's not for me. Let's issue G says, some weird people indeed in the DM sometimes. It is. And it's like, a lot of men online are disrespectful. So disrespectful to women online. It's so disgusting. Just admire a woman for her beauty. Admire the attributes that you're looking at, but keep it to yourself, yeah?
Well, I think that's the issue well, I shouldn't say it's the issue, but it's one of the nature of the beast of being online, is that people will say something because they feel like they're behind the computer screen or behind this phone screen. They'll say something that they wouldn't dare say to you if it was like face to face, if it was really in there. If they saw you walking down the streets, some of the things that I see people say, they would never say to someone.
Never.
Like if they saw me in real life, because they know it's out of order.
Yeah.
But they feel that, you know what, I'm behind the street, I can get away with just saying whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why, like, once again, like on some of my posts, I can get a lot of comments, and I've said for years, I've always told people, I don't sit and read the comments. I don't really do read them, but at times when I do look at comments, I look at what people say to each other in there. I'm just like, raw. How on earth did you like? How are you going to say that to someone? You don't actually know them. You don't know nothing about them. You've made pure assumptions, and you just pushing them
Pure
out online.
assumptions.
And
Yeah.
it's mad. It is mad.
No, it's true. And we've got a couple of comments here. Let me just go through them. So we have, bear with me, guys. Sorry. So, Let's Do UG says, yes, I'm all for positivity when it comes to social media and like to give daily quotes and also like interacting with peeps. She also says people need to understand people have lives outside of social media. Another good point. So the MP podcast says, how do you both manage being seen as social media celebs in inverted commas and managing real life? Is it weird when people approach you as they know you online? Yeah, like, do you know, for me, yeah, like and it also depends who approaches you in it. So if I'm in like where I live in Wales in Cardiff. When I'm in Cardiff, they'll be like, it's a lot of women sometimes, so they'll say, "Oh my God, like to get me, oh my, like your quotes, they're so inspiring and da 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 da," and I love that. But then, like, if it's a man, it's just always different. But in London, when I'm in London, I remember I never forget one year I was in Carnival and there was this guy and he was like, "Oh my God, breathe it all in, love it all out." And he went to me, "You saved me." He went, "Honest to God, I was at my lowest and you posted something and it made me feel differently." And do you know, that for me was such
Yeah.
an amazing, most beautiful moment. And I actually teared up because I thought, I'm just like, for me, I started posting quotes, God, in 2012, and I used to do it. It was therapy for me. It was healing for me, and I just thought, "Do you know what? Let me just share it in it and see if it helps someone." And for him to come up to me and say that, that was such a beautiful thing. But then you also have the other side of it where people come up and they actually really approach you, like you're your post or like you're, and I'm like, "Are you all right?" And I've had people say, "Oh, like, oh, you're quite rude, isn't it?" And I said, "I'm not rude. I'm just overwhelmed. You're in my face. Like, you haven't
Mm.
given me a minute to even. You haven't even said anything. You've just approached me like you're on my in my comments. That's crazy. Like, please respect that. Yes, as much as I am a spiritual being, I am living a human experience. So when
Yeah.
you're coming up into me in my face and you're shouting and you're like going on to me, I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you, and I definitely don't want to talk to you because you're coming all loud and it's way too much, man. It's way too much. Yeah, it's weird. I think for women, it's a little bit different. I
Yeah.
think,
I was just about to
yeah,
say that.
yeah, because I know like there's like, Nad and Melt Me and everyone, and it's even that, like, when you call, like, I call obviously Antoinette, she's my friend, I call her Antoinette, but sometimes even when people are like, "Oh, Melt Me," and I'm like, "Oh, that's just weird." It's weird, isn't it? You know what I mean? Or they'd be like, "Oh, Nads," and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, it's like they're literally treating you like it. To me, it's like you're a thing rather than a person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they forget that you're a whole person. That's just your Instagram name. It's weird. And the Empty Podcast says, like, it's normal to walk up to people and start speaking to them. Yeah, like, I'm just like, come and you got to approach me. I'm not unapproachable. Come and approach me and say, "Oh, I see your stuff on Instagram and XYZ." And I'm just like, and it's the way they just come up and they're screaming and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw you in." I'm just like, just go away. Please remove yourself from me. But yeah, how do you find it? How do you find that, like, being in public and people approach you?
Do you know what? It doesn't really bother me per se, but
You're a laid
that's
back guy
because
though.
yeah, I'm laid back, and like I said, I know I was saying earlier, I was a bit of a recluse, so
Yeah,
I was hidden away for ages, and
yeah,
because I was living with my ex in Chesterfield, I wasn't
yeah,
in Nottingham, so I like I was known, so I was known for basketball. Everybody that knew me
yeah,
knew me for basketball. So I was the team in Nottingham is Nottingham Hoods, and I was the poster boy. So used to have like full-size pictures of me in McDonald's because we were sponsored by McDonald's. Often I'd be on like Knots TV. So people just knew me from basketball. So I was used to people. I didn't necessarily know who they were, but I would still talk, and I was always just cool with people.
Yeah.
Then I started building this page, and it was very Nottingham based when I first started.
Yes.
Then I moved away, and when I moved away during lockdown, that's when the page kind of exploded, and I got lots of Nottingham people come, but people weren't seeing me out and about. So like now, I'll be working because like now I'm back living in Nottingham again. People see me all the time. They're like, oh yeah, like, I'm cool with it. Like this is why I say I think for guys and women it's probably a little bit different. Like when people, I've never had anyone approach me on a bad vibe. Like so, it's always been love, and so yeah, it's always been all right for me.
Yeah.
I always find it funny when people call me Bantz or they say, "Yo, NGBantz." I think it's funny. But yeah, it's cool. I suppose though, but I mean, like with regards to the Empty podcast, for them it's probably a little bit different because obviously they're doing a podcast now, so they're getting clips over TikTok, they're getting clips over Insta, they'll get people watching their YouTube. You're going to get noticed as well. Yeah. You're in London as well. You're in a bigger city. People will know you personally, but then obviously everyone's connected, so people will start to know this person that knows him, and they'll recognize him. I feel like it's always on good vibes, and I think because of the sort of content that you're doing, you're not really going to get people that are going to be wanting to come up and like either want to fight or argue or just call you out. So I feel like with guys and with the sort of content you're doing, I think it's all right, but with women, I can understand why it would, especially if guys keep coming up to you, and it could be quite intimidating.
It gets a little bit, and I'm not a person that is easily intimidated, but it's just, I don't know, like sorry, stick. I can't do anything I've tried. Trust me, a million times. You're gonna have to come out of the whole app, swipe that up, and then come back in and try that way. I feel like everyone's like, I think depending on what you do, everyone's kind of playing a character online, aren't they? It's like, you know, people will say about China, they'll say mad shit about China, but the China I know is lovely, kind, lovely guy. He's playing a character, and one reason why I respect China is because he came with a narrative and he's stuck with that. He hasn't changed. He hasn't done any of that, so that's why I rate him on that. And then you've got, you know, like True Talk. He's not here to. He couldn't get on either, but he's not here to speak on it. But if people, you know, I know him in real life. I've known this guy for over 10 years. He is not who he is online, and it's not to say that he's fake. It's just that people do think they know you. And I've seen him. I've been in places that, you know, I've been in public with him, and people will come up and they, oh yeah, you're true, and he's like, oh. Do you know what I mean? It's too overbearing sometimes. It is way too much, and it's because people do think that they know you. And it's like, I've had conversations with my friends before, and they've said, yeah, but like, you know, you put yourself out there. You actually put yourself out there. And it's like, yeah, you do. But where did it become that people didn't know how to respect the boundaries? Like, where did that come in? What? So because I post the photos or quotes, or I do a few podcasts and stuff, that gives people the right to come and invade my space. And it is, where's the line? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I think sometimes people do just get excited because they recognize someone that they've seen on the screen. It's a tough one. But if you, once again, just like Empty Podcast said, if you put yourself out there,
so we're expecting that. Yeah. So we're expected that there is no line. It's mad. It is mad because see me, I respect people's boundaries. I just respect people existing, innit? So see me, I don't know. This is just me. Even if it's a famous person, yeah, like you'll see people think, I don't give a shit who you are, because to me, You are just one human being in a world of how many? I've just
Yeah, it's
never,
true.
I don't get starstruck. I don't like, do you get me? I've had conversations. If there was one guy, I won't name him, but he came up to me and he was talking, and all the girls I was with, they were like, you know who that is, isn't it? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, bruh, not even one piece of excitement. I was like, no, he's one human being in a world of how many. I don't even care. Like, I don't care for it, innit? It's not something that I care for, and it's because it's just people. Like, literally. And Liam Perry said, because you have respect doesn't mean people have the same mindset. And that's what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Always
Yeah,
have
it's
to
true.
remember, not everyone is like you. Not everybody is like you. And that's something I've had to learn the hard way, because I think at one point I used to walk around with these rose tinted glasses on and think, oh yeah, everything's great. And then when I started doing the podcasting, because we started in 2020 and it was just for fun. And we put out the words of wisdom for people and we did those things. And I didn't realize how much people relied on it. You know, if we didn't go live, people would message, oh, why ain't you live? I've been waiting. And I'm like, oh, God, a minute, I got a whole life to live. Like, it's not right. Don't do it. But people get really, really angry and mad, and as much as the positive side of it is that people respect what you do and they're actually appreciative. But then the other dark side to it is people will cuss you and then they will stop trolling
Yeah.
you and doing a madness. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
In fact, it's funny actually. I say I haven't had anyone come up to me on a bad vibe, which is true. I haven't, but I did discover. It's funny. I got told by a couple of people that there are some people out there that I don't even know exist. I don't know who they are, but they don't like me, and they were jealous of me because of a social media page, and I'm like, yeah, you be jealous of my broadcast? Like, come on now, like you don't know me, you don't. There's no need to be jealous of it. So yeah, you're right. You have got to be a bit mindful because not everyone is. Some people are kind of bad mind, but as I say, I haven't ever experienced it where anyone's actually come up to me and said anything. I've had a couple of DMs before, but once again, I get no attention.
Yeah,
It's just,
and it's like, and I find that because I find myself in London a lot with the podcasting and the events and stuff, they also think because I'm from Wales, I have a Welsh accent and stuff. They think I'm an idiot. Literally think I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's mad. They think, oh, you're from out of town. Like, first and foremost, I was born in London, yeah. And secondly, London is not all that. Best believe. You come and try and listen, come to Cardiff. Like, because people think, oh, Cardiff, little small place, whatever. Nah, it's mad. It is mad. These London people, yeah, ain't got shit on some of these people down here. And it's an actual real place. And I think London, the mind that I find, don't get me wrong, I love going to London to connect with different people and whatever. But you know, when I come back to Cardiff, oh my God, I'm so relieved. I'm so happy. See, even the empty podcast says it's a London thing. We are very disrespectful very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. The women can be horrible, so bitchy and nasty. And then the men, it's like they're just flinging out prominence. It's strange. Very strange. Because when you go, like you go up north, you go different places, like go Manchester, go this, everyone's friendly. London, different. So different.
yeah. Listen, I tell you, you come to Nottingham, and I think Nottingham is a really friendly city. I feel like you can come here, yeah, people will be like, just if you out day to day, people are going to be cool. They're going to be nice to you. But man, when you peel those layers back,
don't play with it.
It's got a very dark side to the city. So it's mad, and I have seen it before where we've had people from London or Birmingham, or they've come from a bigger city. They've come here with that mindset that these are country people who can just go to, and it's gone a little left for them. So yeah, it is weird, but I think it's just because you come from a bigger place, and when you go somewhere else that's a bit smaller, you're like, oh no, man, now I'm a big fish in a small pond.
You think you can do that, but you can't, man. Don't mess with them smaller towns, because see, there's a close knit community, and best believe when you've touched down, the whole place knows you're there. So that's why I always say to people, move with, when my people from London come down here, they're like, right, I took Cardiff for granted. I thought it was all right, I see. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I always say, don't take me for an idiot because I live in Cardiff. The Empty Podcast says, the best hospitality I get is outside of London. I agree. Liam Perry says, and please don't always take it as a bad vibe. You could also be changing people's mindsets with your podcast. And this is the goal. For me, the whole division platform, this is what I've always wanted to do. We came together as a collective and we just want to have these kind of conversations. Don't get me wrong, as much as it's good talking about relationships and all of those kind of things, it's good to have real conversations about real life and the things that are actually on people's minds that they might feel that they can't talk about. Little Women Eats says, laugh out loud, I feel like there's horrible people in all cities and cool people in all cities. I love London. Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? It's very, very true. It's very, very true.
Oh yeah, don't think that I'm not trying to shit on London, because I actually love London. Like when I say to people my favorite places to go, London's obviously there, Manchester, they're my favorite places to go. Like you go out and there's obviously for me when I go to London, I'm an out of towner, so everything's all big shiny and it's all exciting. You know what I mean? Manchester is just such a vibe. Have you ever been out in Manchester?
Manny.
Yeah, Manchester's just like it's different. It's like London up north. It's just like the people there are mad, but in a good way. I love Manchester.
It's just so vibey in Manchester. I do love Manchester. I remember the first time I went there, I was proper young, and we went to we was raving or something. I had a ball. I had an
Manchester's sick.
Yeah, Manchester's wicked. And my daughter did a lot of dance when she was younger, and we had to go up there a few times. And I just loved it. The people are so happy. But yeah, we got Melt Me says you need to do more. Oh, thank you, Melt Me. Do you know what? I have it's not that I've fallen off, it's just that I'm just spending so much time being present, and being present in my life, because the time passes by so fast and stuff, and I just want to be present in the moment. And I feel like one point you can get so consumed with online, you end up giving people more of your time and you kind of miss what's going on around you. So that's why sometimes I do take a big step back and I kind of disconnect in that way. Little Women Eat says, Manchester is cool, Nottingham is cool. Most places have amazing people and cultures and love for everyone. It's so true. Melt Me says, Manly is the best, Liverpool is fab in summer, and Leeds is also a vibe. Leeds is another place. Yeah. Leeds is definitely a vibe. Yes, big up Kate each and every time. Well, I've got a scenario for us, guys. A scenario to end our live on. It's a good one, because I'm not going to finish the other topics because I want to get the guys on and do it all together. Because Instagram have played with us tonight, but it didn't stop us. It played with us,
we kept it moving.
But we kept it moving, and you know what? Commend you on that, because I was ready to give up. Not even gonna lie, but we kept it moving. Right, let's get this scenario. So guys, this is a real scenario. Please be respectful. Try not to have any judgment, and I want sound advice as well. So are you ready? So I'm a 15-year-old boy that comes from a 2-parent household. I come from a very loving family. Mum and dad have been together since they were young. I recently started chilling with a girl at my school. We're in the same year, we take most of the same classes. She asked if I would be allowed to come over to her house and chill, and my parents were cool with it. Her mum is single, but the girl told me she's just started dating some guy. I went over her house about a week ago now, and when I was over there, the mum was getting ready to go out on a date. Just as she was about to leave, she shouted up the stairs and said goodbye. The girl wanted to be nosy to see who the guy was, so we looked out the window, and best believe I see my dad kissing the girl's mum and opening the car door for her. I didn't say anything to the girl. I just told her that man felt unwell and went home, and I've been avoiding her ever since. What do I do? Do I tell my mum? How can I break it down to the girl? It's such a mess. Love boy, pattern by Dap says rotted.
Big up Daps. Oh boy, that's a sticky one. That's a
It
mad.
really is.
Oh
Right.
boy. Yeah, yeah, that's a tough one. Like, okay, so I, I think for me personally, right, and some of you may disagree with me on this one, but the way I would look at this, I think the boy should confront his dad. I don't think he should go to the mum. I think
Okay.
he needs to go and say, Dad, I've seen this. We're not lying about it. What is going on? And
Yeah.
then it's going to be on how the dad approaches the scenario,
Yeah.
situation, I should say, as to whether the boy needs to then go and talk to his mum or not. But I feel like the first point of call he's got to go to is his dad.
Yeah. I hear you. I do hear you. Guys, you lot are popping off in the comments, but let me just read some of them out. So we've got, sorry guys, wait there. Slow down on the comments, guys. Slow down. Right. So we've got Little Women says, geez. Hay said that poor child. The Empty Pot podcast says you've got to approach the dad. Liam Parry says, if you get a chance, take a look at the poetry events. It will give you insight into Nottingham talent and their stories. Thank you, Liam. Appreciate that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, well, but yo, it's serious. Poetry on the ends is big. There's like my brother's done it. Jar Digger, everyone knows Jar. Yeah, he
okay,
kills it on there. Yeah, definitely did. Yeah, that's a big comment there.
wicked. That's a wicked plug. Yes, that's a wicked plug. I should be checking that out myself. Um, the Empty Podcast said, tell him to tell his mum. All right, tell him, tell no, tell his dad, tell mum, or I will. Um, Little Women Eat says, I agree. Tell the dad to tell mum. It's a mess, this one, because you know what? Do you know my initial thing? It's a real scenario as well, guys. Um, for me, it's because he's so young, innit? And it's just like, imagine you started, do you get me? He's navigating his way through finding himself. He's found a little girl he likes, do you get me, in his year and whatever. He's gone over to her house. He's probably, I had a conversation with, because it's mad, because it's the boy, he went and told my friend that my friend is his godmother. So he's told her, but I think he's come and told you, hoping that
So,
you'll do it. And that's what my advice would be, is go and tell an appropriate adult, yeah? Because a child should not have that kind of madness on his head. He should, because who knows? Yeah, he says he comes from a loving family, but your dad's out here doing a whole cheating thing. He's doing a madness. So imagine he goes and confronts the dad, and the dad wants to switch on him. It could get so bad.
it could, but also you have to. I mean, this is another angle here, which I just thought about, and this is why I'm saying go speak to the dad. We don't know for sure what their relationship is. It could be the mom and dad in an open relationship.
Could
It
be
could be
that.
the mom and dad. The mom and dad aren't actually together. They're just there for the kids. And they was
Yes.
just
Yeah.
thinking, you know what, we're going to just do this until they're 18. And then we don't know. This is why I feel like at 15, as a boy, you're starting to you're starting to mature a little. For me, I just say he needs to go and have a man-to-man talk with his dad. I know he's not a man. I know he's a boy. But this is where you got to say, Dad, this is what I've seen.
Mm.
What is happening? And then this is why I say it's going to be on how the dad responds. If the dad decides to sit down and say, "All right, son, listen, this is," and and I'm, I need to be honest now. I'm going to tell your mom. Fair enough. If it's going to be, listen, son, we never wanted to tell you, but we're not doing this. But the boy's mind, so the boy's mind can be put at rest. That dad he's got to speak to the dad, and then the dad has got to actually speak to him properly.
Yeah.
You can't be spitting his dummy out and kicking off and all that. Because if he does that, then that's it. The relationship's probably broken already, and the boy will go tell the mum anyway. So
This
yeah,
is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is why it's very, very techy. Let me just go through some of these comments. Sorry, guys. Slow down a little minute. Slow down, yeah? Let's keep up. Little Women Eat says, but he would have to trust that he's told the mum the truth. The dad might say he has, and they've sorted it out, and the kid has no way to know. It's true. And then Vibe says, imagine the mum already knows, which is,
Yeah.
what you said again, they could have an open relationship. Melt Me says, this is also why the parent needs to meet. This is also why their parents need to meet the other parents before they come. I think it's round the house. Yeah, round the house. Yeah, but remember that we live in a society, and this goes back to what we were talking about, the difference between then and now. Yeah, see me. If you would have to go and chat to my mum, my mum needs to know who your mum is. My mum needs to speak to your dad. This needs to happen. My family have to know your family. That doesn't
Or
happen
if you need to
nowadays.
go around, so you need to go around someone, you can't. It's not like you can just go to any school friend. You've got
Yeah,
to communicate it. She wants to know. I've got the telephone because obviously back then there's no mobiles, but I've got your landline. I'm
yeah.
gonna ring you, and I wasn't ever allowed to actually go and stay over at anyone's house. I
No,
was allowed
neither
to
was
go to
I.
like my cousins, but like school friends, I could never go and have a
No.
sleepover.
Mm.
That was never happening. But yeah, times have
Same.
changed.
It was a no-no. And for me, even I was like it with my child, and the only person I allowed her to stay over their house, and she was a single mum. There was no man in the house. So the kids have been friends from when they were small. And the other one, when she stayed over at her one friend's house, do you know what the dad did, which I had so much respect for him? He said,
But he went out.
He went and stayed at his brother's house. He went and chilled with his
Yeah,
brother
yeah,
for the night because he said they're all girls, they're all young girls, and he said she comes from a household where there's not a male present in the house. He said I don't
yeah.
know what men are around her, and I don't know who you have around her, but I'm not going to do that to your child, and I respected him fully for that. But that's how I was brought up. You ain't sleeping over people's houses. Little Women Eat says, yes, it's so difficult, but maybe he should say to mum, you need to talk to dad about where he was on such a day. Liam Perry, that's a bit,
Boy,
mad.
boy.
Um, Liam Perry says, what he should say to his dad is, I know the scores, so you have a chance to make this right. Then let his dad make that choice. What happens from there happens, basically.
Yeah.
Help Me says, this is also why the parents should have met the parents before he can come round the house. Yeah, that's what she was saying. Um, Little Women Eat says, you need to meet to know who to avoid when cheating. That's what it sounded like. Milk Me says, I'm still asking, by the way, I'm still asking how my daughter had boys as friends, and I would make sure I spoke to the parents.
One thing I just want to say, like, because the first thing I was thinking about when you was reading this is, you said the mom was going out, so she was
Yeah,
about to leave them in the yard alone,
yeah,
and they was upstairs. She
yeah,
shouted upstairs, that means they're in the bedroom
yeah.
alone. There's no way on earth I was ever allowed to have had. So, even now, I'm 40 years old. You know, if I was to bring a woman in this house, she could come. She's not staying over. I'm not going upstairs with her because we're not married. My mom's
Yeah,
always said, if
yeah,
you're married, that's another story. Until then,
yeah.
no. There's no way. At 40 years old, if I could go to my mom's yard, take a woman, just nah. That
Mad
could not.
thing. It's a mad thing. Like, do you know, see them people there? I remember my friend, yeah, she said to me, oh yeah, such and such has got a little boyfriend, and I think they were 14 at the time. Oh, I let him stay over. I stayed with her, and my head went to the side, and she was like, "What?" And she went, "Oh no, they're kids, they're good, they're fat." And I said, "Yeah, when you're a grandmother at such and such an age, when your child's pregnant in a minute, because I think they say, oh, I'd rather them both be under this roof and do." Nah, you're enabling it. You're enabling it. You're allowing them. You're giving them a safe space to do whatever they want, to be alone in their bedroom. What are you doing?
Mm. Although it's a tough one though. At those age, I don't think they should be up there on their own. Not no way. But saying that, if it was a case where my child, I've got a teen and they're going to be doing whatever they're doing, I'd rather them be doing it in the safety of the house rather than in a park bench. So it is a tough one to sort of navigate. But just here, when I'm just thinking about it logically, and I'm not I'm not in that scenario, and I'm trying to say, like, to me, no, your kids are not. They're not going upstairs. They're not doing nothing. But I do also understand that different people's situations can be different. So I'll try not to pass. I'll try not to pass judgment. We did say this at the beginning, not to judge, but.
Yeah, I try not to, but like I always say, like each their own in it. But I just know for a fact that my 15-year-old child ain't upstairs with a boy in the bedroom, and I'm shouting at the stairs, "Bye, guys," because I'm going out and I'm leaving. Are we okay? Like, even when you say it, it just sounds mad. But there's some people who wouldn't have a problem with that. They wouldn't. They'd be like, oh, you know, I trust that. Or they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna do it. But you know what? Okay, yeah, you can't control them all of the time. You can also put boundaries in place. You can say you can make moves to set the record straight and say this is what you're not doing, and you have to have a conversation with your child. As uncomfortable as it might be for some people, have that conversation with your children. It's crazy. Little Women Eat says, yeah, you can't leave kids at home on their own. You can't. I just think it's like, yeah, it's mad. It's crazy. That's why get a ring doorbell, guys. Get a ring doorbell.
Yeah, it's true. Kids can't be like sneaking in people these days. You're getting caught, man. There's cameras everywhere.
There's cameras everywhere, boy. Trust me. It's crazy. Little Women Eat says you still need to know they're being monitored. It's setting the wrong tone. Exactly. It is. You're saying it's okay. You're literally giving them consent without giving them consent. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to be very vigilant about how, what you're doing and what you want for your child as well.
Yeah, and also even like when we were talking about earlier around consent and like how things can be blurred, especially at a young age. It's best like if I'm protecting my child, I would try not to put my child into a situation where things could go a little wrong. Like
Yeah.
So
yes.
So yeah, I think as parents, me as a parent anyway, I wouldn't be comfortable with my child being like that, and I wouldn't want. Also, even if I have a son, a teenage son, and I wouldn't allow him to be bringing girls, because I do know that sometimes that parents of boys can be a little bit more lenient than parents.
They're more lenient. They just say, "Yeah, well, he's a boy, isn't he?" Yeah.
Yeah, and this is once again what we were saying earlier about it's not right at all. I don't feel like you should be putting kids into a situation where things could happen, basically.
It's very true. It's very true. I think my advice to this young man would be to just, I think you've done the right thing in telling an appropriate adult. Confront your dad. And even if you have to confront your dad with that appropriate adult, do that. Because, it's a bit.
That's his dad, and it turns out, actually, yeah, it's all good. Yeah, go on a double date, is it?
Yeah.
No,
but
you can't do that. You can't do that.
You don't know people's situations. He could have an open relationship with the mum. He could.
Yeah, he could. But if he does, that dad now going to have to end it anyway, regardless, because he's going to have to. He's going to have to. Out of respect for his son, he's going to have to.
And that poor boy, he ain't even spoken to the girl. He's been lying, saying he feels ill, not going to school. It's terrible. The empty podcast said the worst thing is, that shattered his whole concept of his family. You know what? Yeah, that too. Horrible. What a horrible thing. This was such a new one to me. Usually you get, the adults and the relationship dilemmas and stuff. But this one, I was like, ooh, this is a lot. Little Women Eat says, I know as a kid though, it would kill me not to know if he said if he said anything to my mum. Like the uncertainty.
Yeah. See, I mean, this is where I now have a conflict, right? So, and I'm trying to put myself into the scenario as being 15, and I would definitely, I'd want to go and speak to the dad, but then out of respect for my dad, I'm gonna go and just take what he says. And if he says to me that he sorted it, I'm gonna have to take that as he sorted it, and which is kind of wrong. And I do get what she's saying, like, but
Do you
wouldn't
think it's
work there.
different, like in regards to gender though? Because if that was a girl, the girls are fast, isn't it? So girls would be like, I'm telling my mum, yeah, that you did this and da 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 da. If you don't, I think. Do you think it would emotionally affect? Do you think the emotional effect would be different if it was a 15-year-old girl that saw her dad kissing a little boyfriend's mum?
It's hard to say because, like what Empty podcast said about that perception in that moment, his whole perception of what his family is, what everything he's known, that could just be shattered. So
Yeah,
I can't say that it would affect a guy, a boy differently than it would affect a girl emotionally. I think it could go either way for either. But I do think that women are a little bit more inquisitive than guys. So whereas
yeah,
a guy, I think if a guy's got respect for his dad, especially if it's someone he looks up to, and his dad says, "Right, I'm sorting it, son," I think he's a son more likely to take that as okay, that's going to get sorted. Whereas if it was like the girl and she saw her mum or she saw her dad, whatever, I think the girl would ask more questions probably, just to make
yeah.
certain. So
That's
yeah,
what I
so
was
I think
thinking.
maybe it's a slight, it could be a slight gender thing.
Because I was just trying to think, because I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and I know, yeah, knowing what I know about her, she'd be like, listen, I'm giving you free work it business days. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm giving you 3 days. You know, if you don't say something, it's mad for you. You better give me some money. You better do something. Like, I know she would do that, innit? I definitely know she'd be like, this is mad. But she would always come and tell me anyway, but I know she would give the person a dog's life, like literally a dog's life. Because girls, for me, girls are just they're too much. They're on it. They don't miss nothing, and they don't play as well. Whereas boys, I feel like boys are a little bit more sensitive, and they have a little bit more empathy as well, because they think, oh, this is obviously gonna. Let me just go to my dad, see if he can handle whatever, whatever. Vibes saying the dad might outright deny it was him. I mean, he's mad if he's going to do that. He's seen his car, he's seen his face, he saw him kissing the girl's mum. He can't deny it. This is what I'm saying. It's not even a thing where he can deny it because he's been caught red-handed, blatantly. See, I would have, but then I suppose in that moment, you probably can't believe what you're seeing. So, some people would say, I had a conversation with my friend earlier on and I was telling her about the scenario and she said, see me, I would have run outside and said, boom, 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 boom. In the moment, you can't say that unless you're in that situation. You can't really say what you're going to do.
Mm, yeah, yeah. It's funny because I'm trying to picture if it was my granddad. I can't picture it being my dad. 'Cause if it was my actual dad, yeah, yeah, I expected it. But with my granddad, nah, boy, boy, yeah, that would,
Like, what are you doing? What are you
yeah.
doing?
You know what? It is actually going to kill that kid. Yeah, it's tough. That is tough. That is
It
tough.
is. It is. It's something that, but I wish him all the best of luck. His appropriate adult is going to speak to him and they're going to sort it out. So hopefully I'll come back with a justifiable update
Yeah.
because that was a crazy one. But yes. So yeah, do you know what? Because of the technical issues and stuff with Instagram, I'm gonna obviously leave the other topics. We did start a little bit later than usual, so I'll definitely have to do a part two on this one. But I just want to thank you so much, KD. That one thing I do love that you know me, I'm very choosy of who I have on the platform because I like to have certain discussions, and each and every time you come on, it's always great. It's always we always have good conversation, and we talk about things that are just the average, the average life for the average people. You know what I mean? Not always over the top. You have conversations that are, for the substance, and yeah, it keeps me wanting to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? It definitely keeps
No,
me
good.
wanting to do
No, I appreciate you asking me to come on every single time. It's a vibe.
it. Yeah,
I have a good time. So yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
thank you,
love it.
thank you.
Because you can always see, because even though you post, you post memes, you post a multitude of stuff, but you can see that you have so much knowledge and you have so much, like, you have opinions and you're not just your page. It's wicked,
Mm.
it's wicked. So I always ask my guests at the end of every single episode, do you have any words of wisdom for people out there, or words of advice, or just, something for the viewers to take home with them?
My words of advice would be pay attention to what is happening in the world at the moment, but don't get consumed by it. Don't be sat there watching every little fearful thing. But
Yeah.
at the same time, make sure you are paying attention, because the things which are happening in the Middle East at the moment, America, it is serious. But at the same time, I don't think people need to be worried about a nuke hitting them anytime, like tomorrow or anything like that. So I'll just say, just make sure you're keeping yourself informed, but don't over-consume in what is happening.
Oh, I love that. It is so true, because obviously we have to keep ourselves informed and we have to keep up to date with the madness that's going on in the world. And we have to just be mindful as well. Be mindful on how things can, be quite sensitive. And also as well, like, my words of advice would be to be grateful. Remember to practice gratitude, because see, that same world, we live on on the same planet. On the other side of the world that's getting blown up, we live on that planet, So we have to be very, very grateful. Very grateful. But yeah, and you know what? That comes to a close, and that comes to the end of the episode. But it will be available on our YouTube channel. I will edit it down. Big up to DJ Sticky Fingers. He tried his best to get back in. Big up to True Talk as well. He genuinely could not. Instagram wasn't letting him in. It must be them. They're the problem.
Yeah, big up everyone in the comments as well, like
Yeah.
Lady, Empty Podcast, Little Woman, all of it, everyone. I'm sorry not said everyone's name, but yeah, I've clocked some of the comments, and yeah, it's been good in there. Nuts
And
as
it's
always as
brilliant.
well.
It is brilliant.
Yeah,
I think the
all of it,
people in the
all of it.
Yeah, the people in the comments, without you lot, do you know what? It would just be two people talking on the screen. So thank you so much for your comments. Thank you so much for your input. And just thank you for just making it like a good experience, because them lot in the comments make me laugh sometimes.
Yeah.
They really do make me laugh, and they keep it light-hearted and they're serious when it needs to be. So thank you so much. And yes, I'll be back. We'll definitely do a part 2 to this. And I may be back next week. Yes, I think I'm back next week live. I'm not sure what day yet, but please look out for the post and the flyer. And yes, KD, thank you and good night. Sending you all the love, light, and good vibes. Just keep going, keep pushing, and keep shining.
Have a good night, Chidzz.
Bye, guys.
Bye, bye.